I went into a bank to get a loan and he was at the desk.
Mm.
And I was like, hey, dude, why are you working at a bank? I literally, all these old ladies next to him, like, why the hell are you working at a bank? He said, I don't know. I said, give me a call. Now he makes 500 grand a year.
Pleasure, man. I appreciate you for joining us today.
Of course.
I think you spoke at convention with Samir on stage
Yeah.
in where were we? Arizona.
Ignite,
Yeah,
Arizona.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
it was a pleasure. I think you're like one of the only other agencies within our IMO that is virtual as well, correct?
Yeah. 100% virtual.
Okay. How many agents do you guys have within your organization?
Writers or I just say writers. If I were
Yeah,
talking about
right.
HCMS, the number would be big,
Yeah,
but none of those people matter.
yeah.
So the people who write, I think last month we had 29 writers.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
29 writers. Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys have been around since you've been in the business since
Yeah.
2022, but you didn't start building until, if I'm not mistaken, 2023, right?
Yeah. I mean, like maybe halfway
Okay.
through 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What you guys did, and based on the research, you guys did a million issue paid your first year in the building.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was over a little over a million.
Okay.
But outside of me personally, it was like 800,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's insane.
So my personal was like 500K my first year, and then I hit logo and all that. But outside of that, it was just a lot of people coming in and out because I
Uh-huh.
didn't know how to I knew how to sell. I didn't know how
Uh-huh.
to hire and develop people. Right.
Mm.
That was the
Mhm.
thing that took me a while to learn was the hiring and developing. I could
Mhm.
hire people and recruit people like crazy. Like I said, if you go to my HCMS, there's probably 80, 90, 100 people that I
Mhm.
brought in the business, but there's 29 that matter as of last month. Right.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I know how to hire people, but the development is really what didn't start until probably the last year, to be honest
Mhm.
with you.
Okay, okay. I
Yeah.
definitely want to get into that, right? So I think like the
Yeah.
overall theme of like the conversation. You also were in the trades as well, right? You went to school, you were in the trades, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken,
Yeah. So I
right?
was I went to school for I got my wildlife ecology degree. So I'm a huge outdoorsman. So I grew
Okay,
up just blue collar working. So I was a diesel fabricator, metal fabricator
okay,
for a long time. And then
okay.
went to school because my parents p did pay my way through school because I was the first person to graduate school
Hmm.
through college. And then as soon as I graduated, I just knew I did not want to work a 9 to 5 for someone else. So that's when this business presented itself. So
Gotcha. Okay. And how were you introduced to business? Like, did you like go on
Inst
Indeed or something?
fuck, Instagram, brother.
Instagram, same thing.
An
Everyone does. Okay.
acquaintance of mine was posting all these numbers. I thought it was the biggest scam in the world. I was
Yeah, yeah,
delivering pizzas in college, and I
yeah.
listened to over 500 podcasts before
Hmm.
I actually like decided to study for my exam. So
No
I was
doubt.
one of those people.
Hmm. And but you transitioned, if I'm not mistaken, you transitioned from trades into hospitality. Is
No,
that
no
correct?
hospitality.
No?
No,
Oh, okay,
mm-mm.
that was incorrect. Okay.
Delivering pizzas. I don't know if that counts,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. That's a level of hospitality.
I
Just
guess.
right. Okay, okay. So that's amazing, man. So I definitely want to touch on, a few things, right? Definitely want to talk about the sales side of things, right? Because you've been in this
Yeah.
industry for now 2 years only, right? Three
No,
years,
3 years now.
3 years
Yeah,
now. 3 years
3 years.
going into four.
Hmm.
So we talk about a little bit the sales. We want to talk about the development, leadership, some of the things that you've learned.
Yeah.
But it's special, right? You're probably the only other agency that we've like had the opportunity to interview that shares similar beliefs and has a similar sort of infrastructural build
Yeah.
that we have in terms of like just being virtual as a whole.
Hmm.
So obviously, you entered the space as a mechanic, right? So before shifting to life insurance, right? But what were like some pivotal sort of moments or decisions that led you from those fields into the insurance world, and like how would you say those early experiences still shape the way you lead your agency today?
Yeah, so starting at the beginning, so if I'm able to see everyone, which I am, who has done some really hard shit in their life, like really hard stuff, or seen other people do it, grew up around people who seen like just doing really hard things, and you knew for a fact that you didn't want to do that the rest of your life, right? So that was me. So like both my parents worked, they were never home. They were successful to a certain point, but they were never home. They were never in the picture. I grew up with nannies, all that stuff, right? So that was one of my biggest whys was I wasn't going to have that for my children. I was going to be present through everything. I was going to make enough money to where if they're playing 10 sports a year, they're going to have the best gear. I'm going to go to every event, everything, right? Now, I knew from being in the mechanic space, and my dad was a plumber. I grew up in a big plumbing family, so I was always working with my hands since I was 10, pretty
Mm,
much. And I knew, like seeing my grandpa, he could barely walk today, right? He can't even bend down to pick something up. My dad, he retired, but like he still is doing those things, right? And even when I was working at the mechanic shop, I seen all these guys that have been there for 20 years and they're still bitching and complaining about money or how like oh how the government does this or oh my God, like they're so worried about what the government's going to do with money or how what the price of eggs are going to be next month and all this stuff. And I knew for a fact that wasn't going to be me, right?
mm, mm,
So when I whether it was insurance, whether it was real estate, whether it was selling whatever, I knew I
mm,
was going to be successful doing anything. I just
mm,
had to put myself into a position to be successful doing it, right? And I knew for a fact having someone above me as a 9 to 5, a boss, a manager, anything like that, I was not going to be successful because it's something that's going to hold me back, right? And then the bigger picture is everyone's in this business for a very specific reason. They all have their own reason, but this is the only business in the entire world where you can start it for less than $1,000 and be outrageously profitable your first year. There's no other business, right? Um, I own real estate. My dad owns a bunch of real estate now, and I know for like, if you, so Andrew Taylor says this all the time, and I get on tangents, Ion. So if you want to stop me, just stop me.
all good.
But
Go ahead. I'm
dude,
listening.
this business, one for one is life changing. For two, it's going to make you more money that it's going to come out of your ears, but it's a lot easier money, right?
Mm,
Like, yes, you have to work for it in the beginning. Your fast money is going to come from you selling at a high level. Those top 5 people on there, those are the people that are making money, right? That they on that video you guys did. But if you compare it to any other business, most businesses aren't profitable for the first 2 to 5 years. If you get into real estate, even selling real estate, I know the highest performing real estate agent in my town, and she's been selling houses for 20, 30 years. She still has to sell. She's the most successful person. She's still having to sell the product for 20 years. That's not success to me,
mm.
right? So this business is absolutely insane. And to get to the next part of your question, say the next part, Ion.
Next part was like, how did these things like shape the way that you led your agency, like in terms of,
Okay.
no.
It's in terms of like my agents and getting them to be successful in this
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
Okay.
Because
So,
there is also this is another thing I want to ask you too, because like, and I appreciate you for sort of giving people this insight about your background, right? Because this kind of shows folks that like, okay, you didn't get like a handout, right? You had to build your way up like most, and there has to be like a study that's done on like the direct correlation between people who have like their back against the wall, who typically always end up performing in this business in comparison to folks who don't, right? So like maybe a better way for me to shape that question would be like maybe there are people who are within your organization that have lived a, maybe the most subjective way possible, maybe easier life than you. But how do you sort of train them? Like, how do your experiences help shape the way that you lead them in that
okay.
sense?
So, it's actually kind of the opposite of how you described it. So
Mm.
my back, honestly, has never been against the wall because I've never allowed it to be. I've
Mm.
always had money
Okay.
because I've always worked, honestly. Like I've never been in a position where I've been broke,
Mm-hmm.
ever. And it's not because of my family. Like I have moved 2,000 miles away from my hometown, away from any of my family as soon as I could,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's not because I love my family to death, but if I was going to grow as a man or as a human,
Mm-hmm.
I had to get away from it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
had to pave my own way. So whether it was me delivering pizzas, right? I was the best goddamn delivery driver you're ever going to meet, right? I
Yeah.
was getting tips at the doors where other people weren't. And when
Yeah.
I was working in a mechanic shop, I was the youngest person there working twice as hard for the same wage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like no matter what, I was never going to be in put myself into a position where I couldn't afford to do something, right? So but that's been my mentality forever, right? So like I have people in my business where their backs are against the wall. So like my the way that I have to paint the picture for those guys is like their why has to be stronger than anything else, right? The reason that they're in this business, the reason they want to be successful and change the trajectory of their family has to be stronger than anything else. And they all
Mm-hmm.
understand that. There's
Mm-hmm.
guys that like there's guys here that opening up the office at 7:30 in the morning, 7 in the morning, sometimes before 7 in the morning on a weekend, right? Those people who still work a full-time job trying to get out of that position working this part-time. They're the ones opening the office at 6:30 in the morning,
Mhm.
right? So like they see the vision because it's all around them. Everyone has the same belief, everyone has the same work ethic, everyone's working for the same goal, which is to be successful. Time freedom, financial freedom, right? For not only themselves, but their future families. If that's not where you're working for, if it's working for money, the money's going to come.
Mhm.
Everyone in this business, I don't know if you've actually, anyone who's been to Ignite or conference, it's the same thing that's spoken at every Igniter conference is this is a get rich for sure business, not a get rich quick business.
Mhm. Mhm.
If you're in this business long enough, you will learn it and you will either sell at a high level, recruit at a high level, or best of both worlds. You'll do both, right?
Mhm.
So the average income per agent's 100 grand a year in
Mhm.
all of FFL. No other insurance company, marketing organization, anything else in the world has an average income of 100 grand.
Mhm.
Nothing else, right? So if you're in this business long enough, you're gonna figure out how to make it work.
Mhm.
It's just up to you to do it.
No
Like I
doubt.
said, I can keep ripping, dude.
No, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you, and definitely want to talk about like how you're gauging like these sort of questions in the interview process, right? Like how are you being
hmm
able to dictate? Some people can come in here and talk about their why all day. I mean, you hear the same thing from everyone else, right?
Yeah,
But it's like, what kind of actual objective questions are you asking them to be able to gauge that? But before we get into
some
that, I know that's like the
okay.
development side. I know you just talked about issue paid, right? You just talked about issue paid, FFL, right? Let's talk about like I want to get a clearer picture of like how you guys operate as a whole.
Okay.
So in terms of like, you said 29 riders, 27 riders.
I think it was 29 last month.
And are you riding too? You still
Yeah.
riding?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
at 41K for the month so far.
Jeez. Wait, for what? For December?
November, week
Uh,
4.
December, November. Okay, got you. So in terms of average issue paid for agents within your organization, just talking like straight up numbers per person, not like top end like outliers. Like what
Yeah.
would you say is like the average?
Our average is 19.2.
That's insane. Per agent is within 29 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you spread it out across, because like if you look at October, September, we maybe had like 16, 17 riders. But
Mm-hmm.
like in the last few months, we've just recruited like crazy and jumped to where we had a ton of like every week we have anywhere from like 4 to 5 new riders a week.
Mm-hmm. And these seem to be quality folks as well. Like
Yeah.
you guys have had to practice down on a system because like you have 80 people in HCMS, you have 29 people who are like actually writing. These people who are writing, and how long has the average agent been with you, if you don't mind me asking? Because you've been building for like
Less than a year max.
yeah,
I have
so
two guys. I have two guys on my team who've been with me over
yeah.
it's like since I started.
Got you,
Two.
got you.
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
Got you.
The rest have
Okay.
left.
Okay. And so talk a little bit, let's talk about your system too. So like in terms of like let's just say from zero to like 20K, consistent 20K months.
Okay.
How
hmm
long do you think it takes the average agent like within the organization to be able to do that?
Okay, so let me say I'm gonna talk full time. So a
Yeah,
full time guy, like
full time only.
a
Yeah,
guy comes in full
realistic.
time. Yeah,
Talk
yeah,
about what it takes. Let's talk about what
yeah.
it takes, and then let's talk about the numbers, right?
Okay.
Talk about
So
spend, talk about all that.
okay, so a lot of it still has to do with the individual. Like if they don't have the drive, the only thing I can't teach someone is work ethic,
Hmm.
right? If you show
Okay.
up every single day, you show up 6 days a week and you're putting in the time, I can get you to write 20 grand in 3 to 4 months. Easy. Like without, even if you start broke,
Hmm.
right? And then the people who, so that person who has the work ethic does everything that they're told, they're very coachable, will probably start doing 20K by month 3 or 4. And I have a guy who's on track to do it now, December, this is his second month. It's like his maybe month and a half, right? And I think a lot of it just has to come down to Monday through Friday, we do new agent trainings, 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, every single day,
Hmm.
right? Everyone hits on a different topic. We have a fully built out boot camp. So
Hmm.
like your
Hmm.
first it's kind of broken down in 3 sections. Your 0 to 30 days, 30 to 60 days, 60 to 90 days. So it's
Hmm.
all broken out on exactly what you need to do to get to that point. The reason we have it like in a boot camp is because if we're bringing on a mass load of people into the business, we don't have time to do all these one-on-one calls, right? To and just say the same thing over and over again, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you have people in here who are bringing on a lot of people and they're recruiting like a madman,
Hmm.
like that's what I was doing. I didn't have any system in place, so every single person that was coming on, I had to do all the training one-on-one, right?
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
was very, very repetitive. It took so much time, and then my production dropped half because of most of my time was going towards the hiring and developing. once I put a system in place, we have some kind of recruit call. Once I developed one of my agents, now he's like more of a business partner of mine. We do everything together,
Mhm.
right? So we kind of bounce the ideas off of each other all the time. But I would say ultimately, like with the training, is we have a lot of top producers. So like we don't have as many people as you guys, right? But we will have like our top five, six, seven people will be 20, 30, 40, 50K, right? So like we have people in our organization is a smaller group where those new agents are going to go towards, right?
Mhm.
So like everyone on here who's doing less than 10 grand a month, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna be honest with you, if you're doing less than 20K IP a month, you're not making
Doing
any
well. How are
money.
you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Abigail's about to sell one right now.
yeah.
Um, if you're doing less than 20 grand IP a month, I can tell you right now, you're gonna be struggling for a while,
Yeah.
right? You have to be doing 20K IP plus per month every single month if you actually want to be making money to a point where it's like you can actually breathe, right?
Mhm.
If you're doing 10, 15, you need to go to those top five people that are on there. Don't
Mhm.
talk to your friend John he came into the business with you, but he's not doing shit. Then don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. Don't
Mhm.
even be friends with him.
Mhm.
Don't go out to eat with him. Don't go to the gym with him. Don't like help them as a person. But when it comes to business, have your business friendships separate. Okay. Go to it. I tell you right now, if I had Harold close to me, I'd be talking to Harold 24/7. Dude does $1 million a year, right? He would be the only person I'm talking to, or anyone else on here who's Hall of Fame. That's the person I'd be talking to,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I wouldn't be talking to the dude who I came in with, even though I'm friends with him and he's doing less than me or he's not where I want to be. I'm not going to be going to him for any advice,
I want to ask you
right?
something too. I want to ask you something. So you,
Yeah.
John, you know what's funny? So we actually, you know who John Wetmore is? I'm sure you know
Yeah,
who
of
John.
course. Yeah. He
Yeah,
does some of our
so we,
calls
we
too.
interviewed John Wetmore a month ago. Said the exact verbatim. He
Yeah.
said, if you are not issue paying 20K bare minimum, you're gonna be in a hole a month, right? Now, I also want to ask you this. So there is a new trend that's going on in the industry that we're in, right? Which is like folks who like think that they can come into this business and like just recruit people. So in your agency too, like how many managers, coaches would you say you have
I would
developed
say
within?
I have a starting five for sure.
Okay, beautiful. So
Yeah.
C-suite, you have that built out. So what would you say to somebody who wants to solely come into this industry and just like recruit some people? Like, do you think that that's
Yeah.
even? I'm honestly
No.
holistically against. I don't know. I think that's even possible. But
Yeah.
like, you tell me. I don't know.
Okay. So this
Is it?
isn't PHP or this isn't any of those companies, right? You're not going to make money just recruiting. Okay. If you can't sell, hire, develop on your own personal to the first one selling, right? Sean Mike, I listened to this when I was delivering pizzas. This is something that sticks with me to today and still goes on pretty much all of our calls every week. Okay. Is your agents are going to do half of what you do,
Hmm.
usually, right? If I'm doing 20K and I bring in 10 people, if I expect them to do 10K, they're not making any damn money,
Hmm.
right? So I think you definitely need to learn how to sell first. Now, there is kind of a gray area because when you have leaders on your team, right? Like I have a guy, his name's Vinny, right? Big door-to-door guy, comes in, he's crushing it, and he has a huge network of people, right? So he should start recruiting as soon as possible, right? But he needs to focus on selling first, right? I will train his guys for him to a certain point because that's going to build his agency, which ultimately is going to build mine, right? Obviously, right? It's going to make him more money. But if you come in and just recruit only, you're not going to have a business, right? Because in FFL, it's not how it works, right? You don't deserve to get overrides on your team if your team's doing all the volume and you're not doing anything. You're not leading from the front, you're leading from the bottom, right? No one's going to trust you, no one's going to want to work with you. We see this all the time, right? Even if you start selling, but then later off you drop off, your team's doing 200 grand, and you think you can just go on vacation, you're not making anything. You're not doing anything. Your team is all of your volume. You don't deserve to have them,
Yep.
right? You have to lead from the front all the time. That's why I'm doing 40K a month. I probably don't need to be, but I
Hmm.
still do it because why not? It's easy, right? I love doing it. So no, I think you cannot just recruit. You have to build. I know I think you definitely should recruit earlier. I think that was my biggest mistake. Honestly, if going back, I should have started recruiting from day one. to a certain extent. Like I wouldn't have taken it to a level um where I can't sell on my own pen because I'm worried about all these people I'm bringing in, right? So
Mhm.
when I was doing 60, 70K my Hall of Fame year, I had guys doing 30, 40 consistent, right? Because
Mhm.
that made sense. They're
Mhm.
making money. I'm not going to put people into a position if they're not going to make any money. That's not the point of being in business,
Mhm.
right?
No
So I say yes, kind of yes and no, but your biggest thing is definitely you have to sell first. Your team's going to do 50 to 70% of what you write.
no doubt. No
You want
doubt.
your team
Okay.
to do 50, do 100.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How much are you guys doing a month right now, if you don't mind me asking? I know you said that you guys.
Um, yeah. So we lost a bunch of people like a few months ago, building it back, getting momentum back. We should end November at like 350, three
This,
forty, somewhere
yeah,
in there.
gotcha. Okay. This is what I actually want to ask you too. What is your belief in anyone being able to recruit? Because I'm highly against it, but you tell me, like, what do you think? I don't, we don't even consider recruiting. We call it like
Okay.
hiring. We actually put people through a process. Because
Okay.
again, it's like us being able to help someone out. Like we can't just like, if someone doesn't really have it in them and then we're telling them on the dream, we're doing the hoorah, or the motivation, all that BS, and they come to our organization, they fail, that's on us. You see what I'm saying? But we can avoid that if we
So,
interview them properly. But you tell
okay.
me,
So, um, you said you've been in the business for a year and a half.
in the brokerage side, yeah.
Okay. So you went to convention, right? And this goes for everyone, right?
Yes,
Everyone. So you've been to convention. Okay.
yes.
So on stage, how many what would you feel like the age range and the ethnicities and the demographic of this
Yeah,
business and FFL is so huge, right?
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So who am I to tell someone that they can't do it? Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like when it comes to recruiting, if they have a why, if they have a relatively good why in this business, if they have a reason to be successful, they have the drive to do it, they own
mm,
100% of their business. I'm
yeah.
not their boss, right?
Mm,
I'll recruit anyone and everyone to a certain extent. If I feel like on the first call they're like complete waste of time and they
mm,
have zero common sense whatsoever, I'm probably not going to recruit them, right? But
mm,
majority of the people, dude, I will let in the business because that test process, that test is a B, right? For a lot
mm,
of people. That's its own like filter for me. If I bring
mm,
in 10 people, if I take 20 recruit calls, I recruit 15 of them, that test is
mm,
going to filter seven of them, probably six of them,
mm,
right?
mm,
And then if I have seven that come out of it, I'll have four that are legit. Out of those four, out of 6 months, one or two is going to make it.
mm,
Like honestly speaking, one or two is actually going to be worth something. It's going to be they're going to be 20K a month plus producer, right?
mm.
So like I'm not gonna hold someone back from this business because I know what it's done for my family. I know the people on my team. I'm like, dude, this guy, he ain't gonna make it. And then now he's doing 30K a month, right?
Mm,
Or
mm,
I'm like, he came in this business. I'm like, damn, dude, like he's not figuring it out, right? Or like people like my on my uplines team, they were on that one step forward, two steps back train for like 6 months, 7 months. And at that point, I'm like, damn, dude, like when do you just stop, you know? But then all of a sudden, now he's doing 40, 50K. So who am I to hold someone back? You know what I mean?
okay.
So like, yeah,
I
I would
respect
let
it.
anyone do this business. I mean, dude, like on stage, there was a guy who was like 70 or some. I'm like,
No,
God damn,
doing the business is different. I'm talking about recruiting specifically.
even, recruit him,
Oh man, that's an int we're gonna have to have a whole different conversation.
recruit him, brother.
Oh
What
no,
the hell? Hey, you don't
you're
know
doing
who's
it
gonna
more
do
than
good.
yeah. No, I believe I respect it. I respect it. Okay, so now transitioning a little bit more into like the building side of things, right? Um, this is all good stuff. So you did explain, right, that you have and similar to everyone else. With average agent, for anyone that doesn't know this, average agent, 97% of agents don't make it past their first year. If that is correct or incorrect, Mr. Chris, let me know.
I would say,
Um,
yeah, 100%.
when people join you, because you have, similar to myself and most people, we've lost people as well,
For
right?
sure. Of course.
Um, either due to us like not being able to help them out, or just us doing a bad job of, you know,
It's not your
vetting them at the
fault though.
beginning.
You have to understand that. You have everything
Really?
that people possibly need in this business. Samir, the
Really?
biggest the
I take it
biggest
upon
the
myself.
the biggest system person in the entire world, Samir. If someone comes in, plugs in, and does everything that they possibly need to, is it your fault if they quit? F no.
That's how him and I think, though. It's
Hell
exactly how
if
we think.
not. I love this. I freaking love this right now. This is so sick. Dude, it's not your fault. if someone comes in and does everything that they're supposed to, if they come in and put the same system, the person on top, hold on, let me open my notes. Ryan Cruz, right? It was his name. His first 10K
Yeah,
week,
yeah, yeah.
right?
He's
Okay. Okay. So if I'm new in this business and
Mhm.
I'm in the does everyone pretty much start the same? Pretty
Yeah.
much, right? Ryan did 10K. What's differing Ryan from someone else who came in at the exact same time from doing the same thing? So Ryan's obviously doing something more in his personal time and efforts than someone else, right? So if they fail, they failed themselves. Ion, you're not their boss. They didn't fail you. They failed themselves. It is you versus you in this business. This goes for everyone. Okay. It's you versus the person you used to be. It's you versus complacency. It's you versus being you but broke. It's you
Mhm.
versus not being able to provide food for your family. It's you versus that person that you don't want to be, right? If that person doesn't have, that's not your fault. This is business, right? They're not this isn't like you're not their boss. They're not working for your
Yeah, yeah,
company,
yeah, yeah.
right? They're
Yeah,
1099. If they don't have the drive in themselves, dude, let them quit. If not, they're going to be a risk,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
right?
A
It's
lot of
not your
con.
fault. The sooner you get that, dude, that's why I'm like, okay, like I'll bring you in. If
Yeah,
I notice obviously something's going bad, this is still a business. Like if I
yeah,
notice someone's doing some scandalous stuff or something, they're going paid as earned, and I'm never working with them again, right?
yeah.
But if someone's coming in and they're putting in A plus effort, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to give them A plus plus effort, even if they're
Mhm.
not selling anything, because like they're doing everything I'm telling them to do. And that same system has worked for so many other people. It's not my fault because I know it works,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Ryan Cruz did 10K. How new is this guy?
He's very new. He's only been in the industry for like a few months, and he
Dude,
came from corporate. He's a dog. That guy's
okay.
insane.
Dude, I didn't come from any corporate,
Yeah,
anything. I was
yeah,
delivering pizzas, bro, in a town with 4,000 people.
yeah, yeah. What state are you
So
from?
like,
What state are you
I'm
from?
from Los Banos, California, but I went to school in
Okay.
Montana,
Gotcha.
southwestern Montana,
Oh
called
yeah.
Dillon,
Jeez.
Montana,
Yeah.
tiny little town,
We
right?
even lived there. Crazy.
Sick spot. I love it. I would go back there and live there in a second because it's so damn quiet. But
Same.
like, I didn't come from corporate. I didn't come from all these other businesses. And like, the guy I recruited, one of my top dogs, he does 50, 60, 70K a month, Hall of Fame first year, agency logo first year. Dude, I went into a bank to get a loan and he was at the desk.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, dude, why are you working at a bank? I literally, all these old ladies next to him, like, why the hell are you working at a bank? He said, I don't know. I said, give me a call. Now he makes 500 grand a year.
Crazy.
So like,
Crazy.
dude,
Not
yeah, yeah. Believe me, it's not your fault, bro. If people fail, they're
a lot of
failing themselves. They're
controversy.
not failing you.
A lot of controversy, Mr. Chris. A lot of
I
controversy. I'm
love
taking
it.
your word for that. I'm taking it all in. But so let's talk about so when people join you though, right? Specifically. So what like, going back to the question I would ask you originally, right? Because we had talked about, sort of
Recruiting
touched on,
sucks.
pardon?
Sorry, I'm bleeding the comments. Sorry.
Oh, you're good, you're good. But we talked about like, identifying like talent, things like that. So like what kind of mentality expectations do you set from day one so that way your agents coming in don't end up with just like flailing around, right? Because like there are agencies out there that'll literally just throw a script at an agent and tell them to figure it out, right? In like a
Yeah,
spreadsheet, tell them to
for
figure it out. So
sure.
like basically, how do you engineer the mindset that produces your top performers in a sense?
Okay, so like, yeah, there are agencies who are going to have a much higher fail rate because they're just looking for that one person that's just going to figure out on their own, right?
Right,
So
right,
that's a horrible plan. It's horrible, right?
right.
So like if you don't have a system in place that's somewhat automated, right, to make it easier for that person. So the same thing with us. Like the reason we have a higher success rate, for one, we get people in office,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If we can get someone in office, their success rate jumps 80%,
Mm.
right? Now,
Yeah.
if they're away, we're going to do a lock-in. Like 2026, we're going to do 1 to 2 lock-ins a month. Okay.
Wow.
I don't care if I have to fund every piece of it. And I'm going to do everything I can to build this business in 2026. There's no reason we're not going to do 1 million a month. Okay. By
Mm.
June. Now, when it comes to developing people, if 10 people come in, they all plug into the system, right? We have Monday through Friday new agent trainings. They're going over objections, they're going over the business, they're going over how to schedule taxes, how to keep track of their business, what to spend money on, how to get a credit card, how to use a credit card efficient. Like they're learning how to build a business, not just sell,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
So that's one thing I think people fail on is like you can come in and learn how to sell, But if you don't know how to use your money, you don't know how money works, you don't know what to do with it, you don't know like how think 12 months down the line you made 300 grand, you're like, shoot, I go 70 grand in taxes. You're like, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Right? So Monday through Friday trainings for all new agents. First 90 days is pretty much automated. They follow the system. It's a blueprint, right?
Mm,
I'm sure you guys have a blueprint for all your guys,
mm,
right?
mm.
Someone
Yep.
comes in, Ryan Cruz, been here
Yep.
for a couple months, plugged in. Now look what he's doing, right? I'm just using him as an example because I saw on your guys' picture
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But um, first 90 days, 0 to 30, they're going to do this. 60 to 90, they're going to do this.
Mhm.
60 or 30 to 60, they're going to do this. 60 to 90, they're going to do this.
Yeah.
After 3 months, you have 100 presentations.
Mm,
Easy, right? Easy, easy, easy. So it's a race to your first 100 presentations in insurance. You're pretty much going to see
mm,
most situations in 100 presentations,
mm.
right? You're going to make some money. If you have a pretty bad close rate, even if you do 100 presentations, you're going to close what? 20? 100 presentations. I'm talking like getting to social.
Mm.
You should close a handful of those, right? So you're going to have sales, you're going to have some money come in, and you're going to be able to reinvest in your business. After those 90 days, then you just plug in with all the leaders. After your third month, you should have some money in the bank. You should be able to reinvest into higher intent leads. You should start having some momentum in the business. That keeps people in, right? If after 90 days they're like, and they put 110% effort after 3 months, and they're still where other people are at month one, then like they almost need to restart and do everything over again.
Hmm. This is true. Okay. So your ethos is
Yeah,
So,
you're killing it, bro.
so I'm honestly like, dude, in the first 90 days with us, like I'm the oldest person on the team, dude. I'm 27, honestly.
mm,
So like when I have 20 and 25-year-olds on the team who are just crushing it, they're in the gym at 5:30. If someone doesn't show up to the gym, they pay 20 bucks. Dude, look at I'm in charge of the jar. There's like 120 bucks in this jar from people being late to the gym at 5:30, right? So like in the office, if something goes bad, they don't make a sale. We do like push-up call-outs. If you lose a bet, you get like 50 call-outs, right? They're
mm.
not just 50 push-ups. Like someone can call you while you're driving on the road. Hey, dude, give me 10 push-ups because you did this, this, and this at the office, right? They got to pull over their car and do 10 push-ups, right?
Oh,
Like, dude, you have to have that culture and that drive, and all
mm.
of these guys have it. So when someone gets plugged into it, it's like what's that drug in your body? It's like an endorphin, like that
Yeah.
drug that
Dopamine.
and
Dopamine.
dopamine. Yeah. It's like a consistent dopamine where everyone around is making money
Mm,
and building a business, right?
mhm,
So who doesn't want to be around those people? So when you get plugged into that and you start to realize and you're like, oh my God, like I made 3 grand this week, which
mm,
that's not like people who have been here for a couple of years know that that's not crazy, but to a
mhm,
lot of people that is.
mm,
That's 12 grand a month, 3 grand a week, right? So that's more than most people are making. Once they
mm,
start to just see a little bit of it, they want more of it. Then they want more of it. Then they want more of it. And then it's not money anymore. Now it's culture. Now it's um, bringing people into the business so you can change their situation. Once that's why I believe in recruiting Aon because if
mm,
someone is 90 days in the business and they're making money,
mm,
there's nothing that will drive you harder than
mm.
having people that look up to you.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you're doing 10, 20K a month, right? But then you bring in two guys that are like hungrier than you. They're going to show up earlier than you. They're going to work harder than you. You're going to be like, I'm not going to let this MF or outwork me, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
now
Right.
instead of you doing 10, 20K, now you're doing 20, 30K and your guys are going
Right.
to
Yeah. It
be right
does.
on your back,
Yes.
right? So it makes
Yeah.
you work a lot harder,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
That was my biggest thing. I feel like that took me forever to learn.
Yeah.
It took me a year
Yeah.
and a half
Yeah.
to learn that. Yeah,
Yeah. Even leaders have their days, man.
for sure.
Like,
Oh, absolutely.
like you wake up some days and you're like, man, you know what? Maybe today is just not one of those days. But then you realize, like, damn, you got like all these people counting on you. You're like, oh no, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Or
That's why
you'll
motivation
check
doesn't
your,
mean anything.
at all. Check your chat when the younger cats are in the gym already. They're posting up. You're like, oh man, you gotta go.
Well, dude, I mean,
Uh,
when that alarm clock goes off, there's motivation. Motivation's temporary. Motivation's
yeah,
not what builds. Motivation's not what lasts. Discipline
mm,
and consistency will take you way further than motivation,
no doubt,
right?
no doubt.
So you got to have that.
So let's talk about this too, man. First of all, again, I appreciate you for all, the
Of course,
insights.
bro.
So like in terms of like monthly spend, right? Like first of all, what kind of leads are you guys running mostly?
So,
Vets.
So we're
That's
still
interesting.
on, so we're still like on third party. In the next 1 or 2 months, we're gonna have a our own like branded in-house
Mm,
leads
okay.
that I've been working on for a little while.
Mm,
But for right now, so a new agent will run aged. They're mostly aged FVX that we have from a couple of vendors that are pretty good. Not just silvers off the ILC, let's be honest.
mm.
Um,
You want to drop
and
names?
then huh? Yeah, no, so we use like lead champions is pretty good. Even like the aged goat leads, the $3.50
Yeah,
ones. I
yeah,
know people talk smack about them, but if you can find them and you get
yeah,
a decent amount of them, you'll close pretty
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Now when it comes to like the people when they actually start wanting to invest, I think it's the hardest point is when you're spending 1,000 or less on leads is when you're going
Mhm,
to have the one step forward, two steps back, two
mhm,
steps forward, one step back. You're going to have a lot of that, right?
mhm,
As
mhm,
soon as you're able to spend 1,000 plus on leads, you're going to see the most profitability possible.
mhm,
That's
mhm,
what we've noticed. So that's what like in that gray area of people like not making money, it's because they're spending 500 1 week, 800 1 week, back
mhm,
to 200. They didn't sell one policy or they didn't, so now they're going backwards, right? The people
mhm,
who produce at a high level are the person who's going to spend 1,000 plus a week no matter what it takes,
mhm, mhm,
right? So as soon as someone can get to that point, we're running a lot of demographic stuff, which I've talked to Samir a lot about this. It's going to be like life insurance for veterans, first responders, healthcare workers, nurses, things like that. Those are kind of our bread and butter because those people, they're middle class. They need
mhm,
life insurance. They don't have it outside of work generally. So it's
mhm,
not a super hard close, whereas like IUL, right?
mhm,
IULs are
mhm,
great. I know how to sell them. It's hard for me to teach the rest of the team how to sell them and do it correctly because you can screw a lot of people over. So I don't want to focus on that. What gets
mhm,
people paid fast is middle class Americans who need to leave money behind for their family, cover debt, cover a mortgage, that stuff. So that's
mhm,
what most of our like 25K and plus
mhm.
agents are running.
Okay.
We have a few guys who are doing like I said, 20 to 25K are running fresh FEX.
Okay. Okay. So, but average spend is like 1,000 a week
Yeah,
for people who
easy.
are
Yeah.
performing at that level.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,000
That's
minimum. Yeah.
good average. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, and then in terms of like,
You said a
obviously,
thousand per lead?
1,000 a week.
no,
Ah,
of course not. Jesus Christ. If we're paying 1,000 for lead, that's time for us to go back to delivering pizzas. But regardless,
Hey.
though, um, in terms of like, I know you talked about a gym. You talked about, you also said this too. You said you guys have an office now? I thought you guys were virtual.
No, we have an office. Yeah, yeah. I thought you meant selling
Oh,
virtual. Yeah, we sell virtual.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, we have 16 people in office. And
Yeah.
then like we have I mean, it's like half of if half is virtual, half is in office.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I thought you
Yeah.
guys were 100% virtual like us.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
no,
we just
no.
got an office too recently, but
I
regardless
know.
though, okay, in terms of like genuinely what it takes to write at like your level or the level of like your top folks, like in terms of habits, volume, schedule, give me the truth. Like, 'cause I think some people look for like the magic sauce. Like, there's got to be something different that's being done, right? Chris
Yeah.
Financial is doing something. They're doing something else. But like, tell me,
Dude,
what
dude.
is the truth?
So you got to be willing to work harder than everyone. Like you have to have the
Okay.
mentality that no one's going to outwork you, right? So like all of the people who are writing consistent business actually making like profiting 15 grand or more a month on the
Mm,
low end. Like we have
mm,
guys who are profiting 40, we have guys who are profiting 15, 20 depending on what they write. But
mhm,
if you're in office, you can pretty much ask anyone in here. They're in the gym in the morning. They're doing some kind of win early. Okay.
mhm,
I don't care if your win is waking up and making your damn bed, some kind of win, right?
mhm,
If you
mhm.
just roll out of bed 5 minutes before you get on the phones, it's not going to work long term. I can tell you
No,
that right now.
no, no. Yeah.
Sure you might be able to sell, sure it might be easy, but long term, it's not. I promise you, because I used to do that. I
Mm,
used to roll out of bed 2 minutes before my appointment and run it and close it and thought I was the shit, but I'm not. Right? So everyone who is selling at a high level and building at a high level is doing self-development first, right?
mhm,
Business is self-development. So if you're drinking, if you're smoking weed, if you're doing all of these little things, it's time to grow the F up. You're an
mhm,
adult now. You don't do that anymore, right? You're not a child. You're not in high school. You're not like, I don't hardly drink anymore. I hate it actually, right? And when I see people do it, like people I went to high school with, I'm like, bro, grow the up. Like, dude, I don't talk to, I had 8 people in my wedding, like
Hmm.
my best friends. And I got
Hmm.
married. They were the ones that were all in my groomsmen. I don't talk to any of them anymore.
Really?
I haven't talked to any of them in a year. I talked
Why
to
is
one
that?
guy actually. Bro, they're
Uh,
all still doing the same thing. They go to our local restaurant on a
uh,
Wednesday night
uh-huh.
to have drinks.
How long would you get married? How long ago?
I've been
20,
married, it'll be 3 years in June,
beautiful. So
this
you got
next
married
June.
in
Yeah.
24.
So,
Cool.
23.
Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah,
My bad.
23. But no, no, you're good. I had to think about it too. Now, but dude, like all those people are still doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
They're working some at a car wash. They're like going golfing on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm like, bro, don't you like have some kind of like they're still living with
Yeah.
their mom and they're my
Yeah.
age, they're
Arrows, dude.
27. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Arrows,
So
golf. Yeah.
why am I going to surround myself with those people? Why am I even going to take time out of my day to talk to them? Right. And then like, dude, they're honestly they're not even your friends. When I had my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
guess who didn't reach out to congratulate me? Not one of those guys.
Crazy. Yeah.
Never reached out to say congratulations. Guess who did? All of the people in the business with me, the people who are consistently developing with me, the people who are selling with me, they're waking up in the gym in the morning. Those people are going to be your people.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that can go for pretty much everyone. If you came into this business and you got to a certain point of success, you're going to lose a lot of friends and you're going
Yeah.
to gain a lot better ones. I could
Yeah,
promise you that.
that's the truth. That's the truth. It's a principle of proximity, right? Like it's because you go throughout your entire life, like similar to yourself, even in your younger years. Maybe you can attest to this as well. Where in your younger years, you're always looking for people who are like who sing the same tune as you know? And like you never really find that group of people until like you
Yeah,
get into something like this, right? Where it's
for
like,
sure.
oh, okay, cool. So like I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. There's actually other people out here who like are willing to not only do what I want to do. Yeah, they might not be in the same state. Yeah, they might not even be in the same vicinity as me, but they're out there. They're on this
Yeah,
little screen here. They're real. But
yeah,
some of them might even be willing to do more work than me, right?
for
But
sure.
they're real, right?
Yeah,
So no doubt,
yeah,
man. That's that community aspect is huge, man. And finding the
it
right people
is.
is
It
everything.
is. Your circle is everything
Yeah, no
because
doubt.
you
Okay.
you will adapt yourself to your circle
Hmm.
all day long.
No doubt. I also want to see this too. So when you were brand new, what's like a painful, like what's the most painful lesson, even brand new or not brand new? What's the most painful lesson that you learned in this business that permanently changed how you operate? Because like pain sticks, man.
Honestly, a lot of it to me was like mentally, honestly.
Okay.
And like my mental fortitude is
Mm,
pretty strong, I would say. But
mm,
like when it was so 2020 what was it shit 2023 was my first full year in the business. 2023 I worked my ass off. Like I did everything I possibly could have, right? And then
mm,
something happened in 23 or 24 last year, right? Where I didn't hit Hall of Fame. I missed it by like a few thousand, like 30,000, right?
mm,
And so like when it was December of last year, I looked back and what I did that full year and I was disgusted in what I did, right? So like that was a pivotal moment for me going into this year. And this year's the same thing. I'm like, dude, I should be way further. And believe me, I know comparison is the thief of joy. Believe me, I know that. I don't compare myself to anyone, and neither should you. But if you use it for the right reasons, it can be really
mm.
powerful.
No doubt. No
It can be
doubt.
really,
Yeah.
really powerful. So like if I use it and I'm looking at your Jay Maskas, your Stanley Smiths, your these guys, and I'm like, bro, these guys are beasts. I'm so happy for these guys and the success they're having.
Mm,
But I look at it, I'm like, I'm so far behind, but it's going to make me work 10 times harder.
mm,
That mentality is what you need to have when you compare yourself, not be like, fuck, dude, I like this guy's doing this. I can't do that.
mm,
I can't, oh my God, like this, what I'm doing sucks because this guy's doing this, right? Like I know what I've achieved, but I know I can achieve much more, right? So like when I look back on my past efforts, I would say that that was my biggest thing was I should have done more when I had the chance, if that
mm,
makes sense. And
mm,
I'm not going to blame my uplines or anything like that. Like, could they have been better? Sure. Like what you're saying, like you feel like you're to blame, right? Could I
mm,
look up to my upline and blame it on them?
mm,
I could, but whose business is it? It's mine,
mm,
right? So when I go through the full year, I'm like, man, from January to now, I'm in this. I'm really not in a huge. I'm not in a much different place,
mm, mm,
right? I'm disgusted in my like. I should be twice as far. I've been in this business surrounded by all these individuals. I'm surrounded by Ion, uh, Ryan Cruz, that guy at the top, Samir, Harold, like all these guys, and I'm like, why am I not half to their level. Like if you talk to Samir, Harold, these guys that have been in the business for a while, dude, this business is so much easier now than it used to.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, like I was like Hayden Hill got on our call, right? Their
Mm-hmm.
agency does like 15 million a month or some stupid
Yeah,
number,
crazy,
right?
crazy.
But he's like, dude, if I would be at 15 million a month if I started a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, because of how much easier this business is versus when it was back then. Dude, back then they were paying $60 a lead for like what we pay $6 for a final expense lead.
Crazy,
Like
man.
you guys, people don't realize what it used to be. Even before I came in, people don't realize what it used to look like. And they built it to the level they are now with what they had. So people like to complain now. It blows my mind because there's these people who have built massive businesses when they had half as much,
Mhm.
right? So like I didn't have seriously, Harold. So like yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I had people, which I do, I go to Hayden Hill. He's one of my mentors. I go to Jay Mask. I call Jay Mask on a daily basis. Those guys are doing 10 million a month, 15 million a month. Do I go to guys who are doing 700,000 a month?
Mhm.
No, because I don't want to do 700 a month. I want to do 800. I want to do 800 million. I want to do 8 million a month, 10 million a month. That's what I want to do. Right. So like I'm gonna go to those people. I go to Samir for systems all the time. They're doing 2, 3. You guys are doing like 2, 3 million a month, right? That's what I want.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Hopefully I answered your. I know I go off on
No, no,
tangents,
it
dude,
did, it
but
did, it did, it did. Yeah, you hit it right on the nail. Um, biggest thing that you again, in essence, I guess, biggest thing that you feel like was the biggest lesson for you essentially was just like move a little bit faster, I guess, like move a little bit faster.
move fast and break things, dude.
Yep. Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
I'm with you, man. I'm with you on
yeah,
a year. It's crazy. Even a lot of these other guys, like some of these younger cats that come in the industry for like 2 years doing what people took like haven't even achieved like what we've been able to achieve here in like 2 years of being here. We
yeah.
can start questioning ethics and things like that, but we're not going to get there. But regardless, you know what I'm saying? Numbers and numbers at the end of the day. It's just one thing or the other. But another thing too, I want to talk about last question I kind of have for you before we open it up for other people, if it's okay. Um, now we talked about, you know, agents coming in, agents coming out. What would you say to somebody who's like, let's just say, been in the industry for a year, or even less than a year? There's someone who's like just feels like this may not be for them anymore, right? Like, what would you say to them if they're about to like check out? What would you say like to assess? What would like how would that
Okay.
conversation go with you?
So there's things I'm gonna look at. Okay, because like I also, as a leader, I have to be willing to lay things out
Hmm.
black and white for people, right?
Hmm.
If they've
Yep.
been with me for 6, 8, 10, 12 months, right?
Hmm.
And they're doing somewhat of the things that they need to, but they're still not putting in full effort,
Hmm.
right? Like I've had it happen, believe me. I've had someone with me for over a year and they left the business, right?
Hmm.
But they never really did more than 30K and they might have done 30K once. They
Hmm.
might have done 20K a couple months and that's it. So they're back and forth all the time,
Hmm.
right? And I know this business can dig you into a huge hole. It can if it's not done correctly. If you're because the vision, the culture, that keeps people in the business.
Hmm.
Even if they're failing and digging themselves into debt, they
Hmm.
want this to work because they see the success, right?
Hmm.
Now, yeah, dude, there's been times where I've told people like, hey, listen, you've been spending X amount of leads. This is what you write. Your persistency sucks. Like long term, I don't think this business is going to be for you because you've been here for this amount of time. You put in this much effort and it's just not working. And I would hate to see you dig yourself even further into debt or dig yourself into a hole and it just become worse for you. Right. And I've had that conversation and then they left and we left on great terms. They paid their debt. Any chargebacks that they accrued over the next 1 or 2 months, they paid. Like that's a business relationship, right? If you're a boss of a business and someone's not doing what they need to, you're not going to keep them, right? In this, it works a little bit different because they own their own business. You can't technically fire them, but you can have that sit down conversation with them,
Right, right, right. You can let
right?
them go though, yeah.
Yeah, but if they're making some money, they see the vision, they're just having a lot of personal life issues going on, and there's all this stuff like you can have that sit down conversation with them and tell them like, hey, you've been here for this long, you have this going on in your life, but your business and your personal life have to be completely separate if you want this to work. This is
Mhm.
what you need to do the next 30 to 60 days. It has to be a full on sprint. If it doesn't work after this next 30 to 60 days and it doesn't work, then I think you should maybe find something else. Right.
Hmm.
So like I've had that conversation and people bounce back like crazy
Okay.
because not a lot of people are gonna sit you down and have that one-on-one conversation with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Just like, I mean, I hate to compare something like this, but dude, like someone in your family, right? And you see their health dwindling, their personal health, they're eating themselves to death, they're not taking care of themselves. Who really cares about you? The person who keeps letting you do that, or the person who tells you, hey, dude, you just gained like 100 pounds. You have two kids. You're gonna die when you're 45.
Yes, Amir.
Do you want to see your grandkids? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to. This is what you need to do. Right.
Yeah.
That person cares about you. Honestly, the person who lets you keep doing it because they don't want to hurt your feelings, that person don't care about you that much.
Yeah. That's the truth.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep enabling you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Of
Yeah, I appreciate you so much for joining us today, man.
course,
So
bro.
we can make a like a whole film, man.
Dude,
Like
let's
you guys
run
gotta
it,
run this
dude.
back.